Javabeans
and Girlfriday.
and we are visible now. You can see us.
Don't look too close.
So we decided to play with a little bit of format. We have a lot of fun things going on our site.
Drunk when we decided to do these?
It's likely. But we are drunks with integrity and we hold ourselves to our promises. So we wanted to kind of welcome you guys to the new site with all of the features that we have, and also kind of take a new format to talk about what's going on. Actually, I realized when I started recapping recently and people were like, "You're back!" And I was like,
I know.
I was always here.
She didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, and then I realized that Girlfriday and I are doing so many things behind the scenes of Dramabeans, and we're there every day. We're there for many, many hours every day.
It's just we're doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like working on new features, the shop, and that sort of thing.
And it seems like we're not there.
Yeah, but we're there, so we wanted to be more visible on the site, so here we are, literally visible.
You can see us, and now I regret it. But we also, are still watching dramas. We have lots of opinions about them, and we are here to share them.
Should we talk about dramas then?
Yes, let's. I guess what we want to do in future weeks, because we envision coming back weekly, let's see if we can commit to that, and we'll be able to get into more of what happens during the week when we have more of a rhythm. But for today, I think we want to just intro the shows that we're watching that are going on right now. We can start with Monday, Tuesday shows.
Okay.
And I think it's both of our favorites right now is because This Life is Our First.
Oh, it's the best show on right now.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those sleeper shows that you didn't really know if it was going to be good or not, and then it totally took over.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's kind of just really sweet and cute, even though when you describe it, it's possibly the most cliched setup ever.
Well, because it's a contract marriage.
Yes,
rom-com.
contract, cohabitation, and then opposites attract kind of thing.
But it's very slice of life, and I like that it feels written like it's a personal story from like a, kind of 30-something or like late 20s, early 30s writer who just, it feels like a very personal story about being young and lost and searching for your dreams.
I think it also feels really genuine to the characters and to this generation, which you don't always get when you kind of have dramas that say they're about a generation and you're like, you were written by old people who don't really know, right?
Yes, who are out of touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just done with a really good touch. The actors are really good. I'm so glad that Tong So-min is in something good again.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been good, and I think she just never got really that perfect vehicle. And then she did Father is Strange recently, and then she did this, and I feel like it's a really good 1-2 punch.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk more about that next week.
Oh, I'm watching Temperature of Love, which, is a really nice kind of departure because it's a melodrama, but it's not actually that melodramatic. I like that it's a kind of the romance is very light and relatable. It's just that now it's kind of starting to veer into a little more dramatic territory, so I'm a little less excited about it now.
It's because that's not what it's good at, so when it goes there, you're
Yeah.
kind of,
I think what I liked about it initially was that it was kind of fresh and different, where every conflict that you think it's gonna go into, it does the opposite.
I remember that with Doctors. I remember that with Doctors in a good way, where it didn't linger into like the really extreme dramatic version.
Mm-hmm.
But I also remember the bad side about Doctors is that it was boring. So I kind of feel like with Temperature of Love, it's a little bit more entertaining because of the actors, but
it's a good couple, but then kind of everything else is very into dramatic territory.
yeah, I mean, I'm behind on it, and I don't know, I'm kind of like a little bit lukewarm right now.
What about Witch's Courtroom?
Witch's Courtroom I like, except for anything about the court.
Yeah, those cases get really repetitive on that show.
Yeah, and I think it's both a positive and a negative, but in my view, a lot of the procedural stuff is just a vehicle for the character stuff. I mean, Korea really is best at the character stuff, and so I feel like every week when you have different sexual assault or sexual harassment case, and the victim is always really, like, you really feel for them, but then the criminal is always, like, terrible.
Well, because it's a sexual offender. Like, when
But
you
they're
lock yourself...
unrepentant,
Yeah, you lock yourself into that kind of case every week, it's just what you're gonna get.
It's really awesome with the characters. I'm totally in it for Chung Yo-won and Yoon Yeon-min. Like, they're really great together.
So cute.
I think she's awesome. I love that kind of sassy vibe that she has, and she's really pursuing him at this point. Anything legal, anything about that bad guy, Chen Guangyu, like, is that his? Yeah, Chen Guangyu. Anything about the politics, I'm out.
What
But
about 20th Century?
20th Century is really cute.
I need to watch that. It looks really cute.
I don't know if it's like an addictive cute. It's like a really sweet, slow burn.
But it's
cute.
like childhood sweethearts who reunite when they're adults, right?
I think my problem with it is also the strength, is the main couple. And I'm at the point, we're halfway through now, and I'm at the point where I think the couple is really adorable, and I don't know why they're not together, and that frustrates me. And they're just starting at the point where Kim Ji-suk's character is backing away. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And I
don't
know
like it when
that
that
he's
happens.
backing away because of the plot, and I feel like he's not backing away because of the character.
Right, because they're adults and they should just be together if they like each other. That's what I like about Temperature of Love. It's also actually what I like about While You Were Sleeping, because it's like two cute leads who just like each other and then just naturally start dating. There's no like big to-do about it, you know, they just like each other and are like slowly growing together, and that's really cute.
I think that works. In 20th Century, it's almost like they meet and they both like each other, and they were both first loves, and they're really happy to meet each other, and then they spend episodes just kind of being buddies. And I'm like, you're clearly into each other. I don't know why you're not together. And you've waited so long that now the other guy's stepping it up, but it felt like you waited for him.
Too long. You
Yes.
waited way too long.
You can't give your rival like that kind of opportunity.
I do really like the romance in While You Were Sleeping. I just wish there were more of it, because I think there's a lot of procedural element to that show as well, and because it's a legal drama, it just feels a little bit repetitive right now. But I think my one thing with that is I wish it had more fantasy, because it's about these people who dream about the future, but they're kind of straightforward. Like, I wanted it to be more fantasy and more twisty, but it's a pretty straightforward rom-com, I think, so there's a limit to kind of that. But the leads are so cute together. It's Suzy and Lee Jong-suk and...
I do think you don't watch a Suzy and Lee Jong-suk romance for the legal parts.
Yeah.
So
there's too much legal part. Like, you're here for the kiss, right? Like, the thing with the cherry blossoms and the rain and the picturesque kisses, which there are, you know, really great scenes, and it's shot so beautifully, so it's really pretty to look at. But yeah, I wish it were less procedural, for sure.
I feel like I'll get around to it. I feel like when it started, I just wasn't into it. Not the show itself, I was just kind of not feeling anything. And now it's kind of too late to jump on the bandwagon. So I'll wait and marathon it later.
And there's Mad Dog, which is actually really fun, because it's, you know, it feels a lot like Lookout or like Police Unit, where it's just kind of like ensemble cast doing capery things.
Would you be watching it if Uduan weren't in it? Or
Maybe
Udorn?
Maybe not. I mean, because Yujita is the lead and he's very good, but I am definitely like into it because of Udohan, because he's like kind of the rising breakout star this year, and he's so good.
He reminds me of Kim Woo-bin.
Yes.
Which is sad, but he has that kind of energy, and the part where he's maybe the third or fourth lead, but you're watching that guy.
Yes.
And not the lead.
Well, in Rescue Me, that was definitely the case. Like, I was watching that drama entirely for him.
The Man Who Marries My Stepdaughter. What was that?
the Man Living in Our House?
Yes, that one. Where he was like a tertiary character. I mean, he barely had any screen time, but you were bored, and then he came on, and then it was exciting, and then you were bored again.
We should talk about Revolutionary Love, right?
We have to.
Are you still watching it? Because I dropped it.
Oh, I'm watching it.
I got so mad at Chiwon's character that I had to drop it.
You know, it's funny because I was recapping it, and it wasn't hard at all, and it wasn't even that angering. I mean, it was a little infuriating, but just a little. And I felt like I could have just kept on going with it, and what tipped me over into dropping it was realizing that if I was going to spend all of that time on this show, I would rather spend it on more fun things. So I'm watching it. It's dumb. It's too bad that it's dumb, but it's pretty...
I thought the setup was really cute and had potential, because you have a Tebar heir who's like hiding in a, you know, tiny rooftop apartment and having to work these menial jobs, but he won't grow up. Like, he has all of these chances.
It would have been good if they had taken sort of the realistic settle approach, but they're kind of going at it with like, I don't know, it seems like a dated comedic approach. It seems like something you would have seen like 15 years ago, where it's really hammy, and the thing about Siwon is that he's so good not being hammy. Like, he can pull it back. We've seen She Was Pretty. And Kang Sora is really good, just in general. It's just they're being used to extremes, and then you get, you know, she's always angry, and he's kind of an idiot. So I'm
And entitled.
He's not that entitled, but he's clueless. Like he just, I don't know. Is it worse to be a privileged jerk who is unabashed about his privilege, or is it worse to like not even realize you have privilege?
I don't know. They're both bad.
I don't know if that's an answer with no question. Or
Comparing
with no
acorns.
Yeah, I feel like he is well-meaning, but well-meaning only takes you so far.
Yeah.
So it's not a
That's
great.
why I dropped it.
I mean, I do feel like with the scandal about his dog, which is really unfortunate. I wondered if that was going to affect the show, but really, the show is bad enough
Without
to
it.
be the only reason to drop the show. Like, I don't really think it needs a boycott. It doesn't need petitions. It has really not that much to recommend it anyway. So, on the upside, the scandal didn't really affect him.
What about Go Back Spouses?
That drama is super cute, but okay, we were talking about this earlier, and I have a problem with it because it's so embarrassing with the comedy that I can't watch it.
See, but when you describe it that way, it makes me want to watch it because I love embarrassing dramas.
It's an hour long. It takes me 2 hours to watch it because every time something really mortifying happens, I have to pause it. I have to kind of collect myself, and then when I'm less embarrassed,
How do you ever get through comedies that way?
It takes me 2 hours. That's what it does. I do really badly when I'm mortified for the characters. Like you have Tangnara, who is I think 35, 67, and she wakes up. She's in a terrible marriage. Not terrible because he's terrible, but they've just fallen out of love. They're miserable together. They get a divorce. They just have no joy left. Everything is gray in 2017. And then they both wake up in 1999 when they're 20, right around the time when they first met. And they're both like, I don't know why I'm here, but I guess I have to live this out again. So, they live their lives, and their 20-year-old selves are different now because, she has more confidence, and he used to be really scared of the girl he had a crush on, like he couldn't even say a word to her, and now he just goes up and talks to her. So there's an interesting setup there, but then when you see something embarrassing about to come down, and you know that it's going to happen because of the setup, you kind of just have to wait for it, and
like bracing yourself for the embarrassing.
Anticipation is a lot of build up, so I often just kind of pause it and like, I know that's gonna happen, or there's a scene where they have a whole setup of like, there's these two guys in a radio booth, and for no reason we cut to the radio booth of these two people who both suddenly get stomach aches and have to run to the bathroom just as Changnara and Sonojun get into an argument and go into a room for a private conversation while the red light is on. Gee, I wonder what's gonna happen. It took me an hour to like press that play button. So I mean, it's fun, but it's also very like, I don't know what you call it.
That just makes me want to watch it.
So you should watch it
Yeah,
then.
I will.
I do think there's a lot of sweetness there. The problem with me is that I don't actually think he's a good husband, so I don't want them together. I mean,
he'll redeem himself in the end. Because, I mean, the setup is like 17 again, right? The movie, so I kind of want to see that.
Is it? Well, they're both in on it.
Right.
And I think the problem is that he's really mean to her.
Oh.
So she and he both have antagonistic feelings toward each other, but he's the one who's always putting her down. And so you're like, I don't really want you to be with him. And this one has a really cute second lead where he's the 24-year-old college student who has a crush on her, and he's that drummer from The Liar and His Lover. And he's so like smooth and shiny and pretty and sweet, and you're like, pick that guy. We wanted to also talk about kind of the news that we haven't put up on the site. A lot of the stuff kind of comes and goes, and we don't really get a chance to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the news that really dominated this week was Kim Joo passing away, and it was just really shocking. I think because it was an accident. He wasn't sick. He is so full of life, and he was in so many projects right now. There's so many projects that like are either halted or he had just finished. I remember it was in so many of the headlines that there was almost no other news this week.
Oh yeah.
But I had a really hard time reading. I didn't want to read about it I didn't really.
I have a hard time reading news about celebrity deaths and stuff. It's just, I don't know, it's so sad. I can't handle it.
Because I know it was a car accident, there's no morbid curiosity there. I don't need details. It's not like there was anything weird about the accident. It just, it happened. I'm sad about it. I don't really want to read about it.
It's too young to die.
Yeah. Terrible. But also the other news, of course, the one other dominant piece of news was that the Song Joong couple finally got married. And this is Song Joong-ki and Song Hye-kyo. And that happens. I mean, and that one, you know, also not a surprise. So
yeah.
I don't really know if there's much to say about it.
Basically, the news was all like people who attended the wedding or the funeral, and it was just a lot of celebrities showing up at both events.
Either very happy or very sad.
So that was pretty much the news for the week, actually.
But we do have a shop that we'd like to talk about.
Yeah, we wanted to, you know, introduce the shop to you guys. If you haven't seen it already, it's a place where you can get drama goods like OSTs or K-beauty products.
Or merchandise that, you know, like the Dramabeans tote bag or the water bottles, which we're just finally doing.
Yes.
I feel like we're kind of a few years behind the curve.
We wanted to do that for so long, but we're finally able to do it now. So
yeah.
We hope that you like it. Actually, what we're going to do for this video is we're going to give away a full set of Peri Peri Airy Ink Velvet. It's like a lip tint. We'll show it to you.
And you might know this is the brand that Kim So-hyun models for.
That she wears in all her dramas.
Yes.
So we're going to give away a full set of all 10 colors of this to one lucky viewer. And all you need to do to enter the contest is to follow us on Instagram at Dramabeans and like the giveaway post and then comment and tag 2 friends.
Yep, and we'll announce the winners probably in the next video.
Yeah.
And
and then one other thing is leave a comment below because we're going to take questions. So in the future videos when we have time we're going to answer, you know, viewer questions and stuff like that. So
let us know what you want us to talk about. If you want us let us know if you want us to give away certain things. We'll try to make that happen. But we're good for today. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.